Robert Baer was a CIA agent for 20 years and was once called perhaps the best on-the-ground field agent in the Middle East. So he knows how American intelligence operates in that part of the world. He knows where the bodies are buried, so to speak. Robert Baer joins me now from Berkeley, California. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
When you watch what's going on inside Iran, do you think it's pretty clear that the government has the ability to really consolidate power and crack down on this?
Fareed, I'm quite sure there's been a military coup d'etat by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in Tehran. They've taken over. And the fact that the Basij came out so quickly, they could have only done that on orders from the IRGC. The fact that Ahmadinejad's a former IRGC officer, he's the backing of senior officers. I think what we've seen is a military coup against the old clerical establishment. What do you do about a military takeover in a country like Iran? You just simply wait it out.
So what you're suggesting is that the guys who were running it, who were the front, or perhaps were originally the ultimate authority, the clerics, the Council of Guardians, this is all given way to the brute force, which was military power, which is these Revolutionary Guards. And what do we know about these guys?
They're hardliners in the sense they're extremely nationalistic. They've had a terrorist past. They were in charge of the hostages, for instance, in Lebanon, attacking American targets, the Islamic resistance there, terrorist attacks across the world. In 1996, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps conducted its last terrorist operation in Saudi Arabia, and for the last 13 years, they've been fairly quiescent. But they are the Praetorian Guard of the regime, and they do control the military as well as Tehran's streets. And they are the ultimate authority in Iran right now.
When you look at the situation, does it strike you that the regime is fragile, that this is not something that can last for decades?
Oh, I think it's fragile, absolutely. And the question is the timing. When will it collapse? The fact that the former president, Rafsanjani, Ayatollah Manazari, and on have all opposed Ahmadinejad and Khamenei on this is historic during the revolutionary times. I mean, since 1979, it's just incredible what's happened in that country. But I think what we see is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Basij face down the clerics, and so far as of today have won. Now, this can't go on forever. Iran's economy is in shambles. Inflation, unemployment, discontent, fury in the streets, in all classes, and eventually it will crumble, just as Eastern Europe crumbled in 1989. The question is when.
Ahmadinejad has asked President Obama to apologize for American interference in the Iranian elections, and in general they have claimed that the United States interferes, tries to destabilize the regime. And my question to you, Bob, is, isn't that true to a certain extent? I mean, don't we fund various groups inside and outside Iran, particularly outside Iran, that do try to destabilize the government?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was an op-ed piece in the New York Times not too long ago talking about the fact that there's a covert action program against Iran where the military is running covert action against Iran from Iraq and Afghanistan. It's very low-level stuff. It's not going to change the politics, but it certainly fuels the paranoia in Tehran.
Do you think it means we shouldn't do it? I mean, do we get much for it?
Oh, we get nothing out of it. It's simply to appease the hawks in Congress. These programs will get us nowhere. There are no assets inside in Tehran. There's no press assets. There's no politicians in touch with the CIA. There's nobody in the military in touch with the CIA. It'll get us nothing. It's just purely to appease Congress.
When you look at a regime like this, that is cracking ideologically, where there's elite disagreement, we've seen this before in various ways in the communist world, in other places. Is there anything we can do from the outside? Should we do anything from the outside?
There's nothing we could do, and there's nothing we should do. The Iranians remain, if I can use the word, a paranoid people. They believe that outside influence is constantly trying to destabilize the government and can destabilize it. They remember the Mossadegh coup. Any statements that suggest that we want to influence politics there are the outcomes of these elections or change people in government will only have consequences worse for the democratic movement there.
One of the things I wonder about with respect to Iran, we don't know a lot about it because we haven't had relations with Iran for 30 years. We don't have an embassy there. How much of a disadvantage is that? Because, you know, we're dealing with this issue with Syria as well. My gut is that we should have more rather than less contact, if only to learn more about these regimes. We operate sort of in the dark without it.
Fareed, that's exactly right. We know the government knows virtually nothing about Iran. Because we don't have an embassy. The CIA doesn't have a station there. In fact, at the CIA, I don't know of a single officer who's even been to Iran. There may be one or two at State Department still serving. They've all retired, moved on. The Farsi is all university learned. We are ignorant when it comes to Iran. I am ignorant when it comes to Iran. I mean, by dint of experience, I've learned a little bit, but we are truly, truly blind when it comes to that country. We do not understand the fissures inside the clerical regime or inside the IRGC. We do not have a clue whether the IRGC is unified or not, or the military, or even if the military has any inclination to come to the side of the Democrats. We just don't know. Every day is a surprise for us.
Now, why is that, Bob? Because there are clearly people who don't like the regime. There are clearly people who in some way are liberally minded. You know, we're seeing them on the streets, who are watching them disagree with each other. With all these potential dissidents, how come we can't make contact with them?
Well, we can make contact with the dissidents. They fly to Europe, they fly to Los Angeles, New York. But the problem is, in a sense, they're exiles. And the CIA and the State Department has never been able to trust exiles like this that want to go home, that want to change the government, that want to convince us that the government is changeable. So we look at everything they say with a certain amount of skepticism. And again, what can we do for them? I mean, they obviously don't need money. Arms aren't going to work. So there's nothing we can do. We just have to let this play itself out.
But what about the people inside Iran? Why is it that we can't make much contact? Is the fear of collaborating with America is that it would taint these people too much?
If they're terrified of being tainted by American support. They're terrified of meeting Americans, and the hardliners, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, don't meet Americans. I mean,